Hi, Pauline.
Hi, Katarina, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good.
Could you tell us about the changes and developments at Warrenmount Centre over the past 25 years?
Oh, Katarina, that would take a long time because I'm here since the beginning of the centre, which now is 25 years, as you know. Well, we started off with about 12 people, 12 wonderful women that were really interested in taking the education opportunities that they had missed for whatever reason. You probably wouldn't realise this, but it was in the late 60s before education became free in Ireland for people going to second level. So at that time, there wasn't an expectation for people to go on and continue into second or third level. So even though that might seem like a long time ago, there were a lot of people 25 years ago who were in that situation. And they were so enthusiastic. It was absolutely a joy to be part of it. And we had a fantastic tutor at that stage. I mean, we were only starting. I didn't know whether we were going to be here a year, 2 years or whatever. So Bernie was the tutor at that stage. She'd been with me in Maynooth. And she set up all the components or modules that gave people accreditation. So it was a wonderful time. It was something very new. We now have QQI accreditation, which is the equivalent of what we started off 25 years ago. So that was kind of the very beginning. Warrenmount Centre started off, it was a presentation project to provide for people in Dublin 8 who hadn't had an opportunity to fulfill what they wanted in their education. So the changes, well, I mean, they have been pretty, I suppose, varied in lots of ways. But I suppose looking back, what I would be very appreciative of the thread that has gone through. And the thread is that we really kept the centre as learner-centred. And even when I say learner-centred, I think I might even change that a bit to people-centred, because like we've made every effort with staff and tutors and volunteers and learner to put the person first. And I think that's really important. I think that's the essence of what we're about. The education is very important second, but you know, the programs and anything we did were always based on what we hoped people wanted or what they expressed they wanted. Sometimes in the beginning people didn't know, but they were able to tell us afterwards, not quite, maybe a bit more of something else. So that was really important for me.
That's great. So is there any particular milestone or interesting story you would like to share with us?
Well, any stories that I would remember are people's stories. I think every time we have a presentation of certs over all the years, the one person that could say, this is my first certificate, you know, that's the important story. I do remember early on in the stage, this man was sent to us. He was sent to us through social welfare because he had a literacy difficulty and he couldn't get a job. And I remember him coming to the door and he actually thought he was going to be in a school setting that would have children present because that's where he stopped his education. And I remember being so touched by the fact that he still had the bravery to come, even with those expectations. But I just found it a very emotional moment in our whole educational system, that there were people in Dublin that had that expectation to go back to education meant to go back to their childhood rather than having people where they were at the present time and providing what they needed there. So that's one thing stands out in my mind, and it was very early on in our system. But any of the, I suppose, memories for me have always been around people and people saying, coming here has changed my life. That's, you know, the most rewarding part.
That's fantastic. So what is the essence of the centre? How would you describe it? What the spirit of the centre?
The essence of the centre is the person, the individual, providing what they need in an educational context, broad, narrow. It doesn't really matter as long as we are meeting the needs of people. And, you know, any staff meetings, any evaluations, when we get our learning plan together, it is really always with the learner in mind, providing the courses that people need. As you can imagine, over 25 years, an awful lot has changed. I mean, there's a big demand for language classes now, but we have to remember we're not a language school, but we will provide the language we can for people in Dublin 8 who need everyday English. You know, where we're not trying to provide the kind of professional English per se, but, you know, people need what they need, but we have to keep it in the context of what we were set up for. But yes, over the 25 years, there's been a big change in our clientele. But, you know, the important thing again for me is when people mix and they meet each other by name. They're not just people coming in or people going out. They're individuals that have their own personal story, some which we know, some which we don't know. That's not important. What's important is that people feel comfortable in the centre, and, you know, that's what we try to achieve.
Okay, and why do you think people choose Warrenmount Centre?
Well, you know, still well over 90%, maybe even 95% of people have heard about the centre from other people. Now, I know we have lots of things on web pages, and you know yourself around Facebook how important it is, but still it's always the personal contact. People meet somebody who said, come with me. And again, that's important for us because it's somebody personally meeting somebody and bringing them to the centre or telling them about the centre. And always that's the strongest reason why people come. Somebody else has told them. So I'm very happy about that because that's community based, and we are a community education centre, and really that's what it's all about.
Amazing. So, what are your thoughts on Warrenmount's 25th anniversary?
Well, I suppose when we were talking about this for the past number of years, we didn't expect it would have the shape it has today, that we would be online, that it would be a flat screen, that we'd be in 1 or 2 dimensions. And we would love, obviously, to meet our learners, meet our staff, meet our past learners, meet our past staff, and have a great old celebration. And we will. I mean, the 26th anniversary will be just as important as the 25th. But it's wonderful. I'm so delighted that there's so many things on Facebook and on social media that will remind people. And our learners have been so fantastic in, I suppose, really making every effort to come online. They may not have the facilities at home that we have from the centre, but, you know, so many people have managed to continue their classes online. And the group I take in particular, it's the connection with other people is what they need most, because that's what they miss most. And like, if the centre is a hub for people to come together and meet, and they're still happy to take second best of going online, to me, we've done okay in the past 25 years. We're still celebrating the learner. And I think that's really the essence of who we are and how we want to continue.
Yes, that's wonderful. So, my last question is, what are your hopes and vision for the future of the centre?
Well, I suppose my hope is that we would continue as we are doing. We have absolutely fantastic staff and tutors. Their commitment is second to none. That was very clear. They worked right over the summer to change all of their various subjects so that it would be visible online and they could work online. We have absolutely great volunteers, both from starting with our board of directors right down to the volunteers that help with the Fáilte Isteach programme. And when you think of these people giving their time, and you know, half of them have been willing to convert onto online work, and you know, it's not really that easy, but they have been fantastic. So I think once we hold the essence of who we are, that we're about people, there's an awful lot more admin work than there was 25 years ago. That's definitely for sure. But you know, we want to give the best to people. So if we want to give the best to people, we have to be the best we can be. Any of the changes along the way, we were able to meet as we went along, and really that's been so great as well. So really, I'd just be happy if we continued to focus on people and keep on going and trying to meet the needs as they arise.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
I hope you have a great Christmas, Katarina, and I'd love to wish a great Christmas in a different way for all of our learners and all of the people that are part of this big family of Warrenmount Centre.